Hello, kia ora, g'day. I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV with your Australia-only 7-day forecast. Rain is back into the weather forecast. Not everyone will get the relief you need, but there's certainly going to be a good couple of chances of getting some of that rain as it moves through over the next couple of weeks. Here is the air pressure map. This is the first time, I think, this year that we've seen high pressure down here being replaced by low pressure, especially a big aggressive low like that one. Has a bit of an unusual shape to it. That kind of does ruin the flow a wee bit as it comes on in. But as you can see, westerly winds from the western side of Australia all the way over to the eastern side. It's been a long time since we've had that, and that's driving in some of that wet weather as it passes along with the cold front, which by the end of today should be somewhere smack bang over the top of Melbourne and coming into Tasmania, bringing a burst of some heavy rain and maybe a few thunderstorms as well. But offshore there is the high pressure zone that's been down here. It's drifting off towards New Zealand, so the easterly carries on for Queensland and for northerners as well. Let's have a look at Friday's setup with the 24-hour rainfall map included. You can very clearly see the cold front. I saw our friends at Weather Zone in Australia talking about this front being 4,000 kilometres long. That's a pretty decent front. So this is the area here with the proper rain in the middle of it, and the heaviest falls will be right in the centre of that. That's where you've got the chance of those isolated downpours with thunder as well as it comes through. In fact, the thunderstorms could be quite widespread. Heavy rain here down around the mountains, and we're also seeing some heavy rain in Tasmania that should spill over the ranges and drift over to the east, although don't expect very much if you are in those eastern areas. Not much for now. And then over in Western Australia, northwest winds blowing through. You've got some wet weather today. You've got more of it coming through on Friday. And the easterlies carry on for Queensland with more showers. That front, though, obviously coming up to merge with that at some point, which happens around Saturday and Sunday. So by Saturday, the heaviest of the rain, obviously around New South Wales now, pushing into the Queensland border, and you'll be seeing further to the north of that, not a huge amount of rain. Most of it is sort of around the Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, down towards places like Port Macquarie, Newcastle, and then it dries out further as you go to the south because, once again, there is some high pressure in here. It's kind of a cold high pressure zone. Temperatures will be down, might be a few showers, but don't expect a huge amount. But we do see some showers here for South Australia and Victoria. And later on, a bit more rain comes back into the southern part of Western Australia. So by Sunday, there is the next cold front, straight back in again. So quite a few centres are getting some rain. The yellows and golds you see here, that's sort of getting up to around 20, 30 millimetres of rain. So that is certainly some good rainfall totals. And on the eastern side, it does dry back out for South Australia and most of Victoria, but now we've got this east coast low to keep an eye on. Now the modelling every day has been moving it around a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean 300, 400 kilometres one way or the other. So as the models kind of work out exactly where it's going to be, that's the reason why it takes a while to lock in the severe weather. But certainly in the southeast corner, right on the border, that's where you've got the chance of severe gales and heavy rain. Now, as we go into next week, it's worth keeping an eye on that low. As I say, the modelling is not sure of it. It's picking two centres here for you on Monday. What that does is it stretches the energy out. Now, that can reduce the winds, but it can also push rain further around. And we kind of hope it does go this way because it means for places like Tasmania, the rain comes in from the right side. And by the right side, I mean the right-hand side as well, out here from the east. That's where you'll get that rain pushing in. So the Esk Rivers, Lonnie, Hobart, places like that getting actual rain if the low comes in like that. And similar story around parts of Victoria as well. And then on the other side, from Western Australia, that cold front sparks another low here in South Australia on Monday. And by Tuesday, South Australia takes the headlines for having low pressure zone and wet weather hanging around you. Now, it's not a massive low, it's not huge rainfall, but again, some places could get 10 to 20, maybe 30 millimetres of rain from some of those thundery downpours. And then out to the east, that low, if it sits like this, really good news for Tasmania. But I have to keep stressing, some of the models show a little bit further to the north, a little bit further towards New Zealand. All of that does make a difference as to how much rain you will get or how windy it just might get in this corner. And if I'm not talking about you elsewhere, big inland parts of New South Wales, Queensland, Northern Territories, and a big chunk of Western Australia, there's not a lot going on, as you can clearly see. So into Wednesday of next week, we've got showers all around the eastern side of Australia, basically, from that low pressure zone that's now gone, but it's left over these showers. And then we've also got more wet weather around Queensland on Wednesday of next week. Easterlies come back here, so Broome, Port Hedland, places like that are drier, all the way down to Perth basically have got that drier setup. But this high, anticyclonic winds going around it, so therefore in comes a southerly for places like Adelaide and Mount Gambier and over towards Melbourne as well. And again, Tasmania, if you're lucky, that low is stuck right next to you for next week. Then by Thursday, as we come to the end of this, we've got high pressure pretty much here around South Australia, not overly weak or powerful. It's kind of right in the middle. So it's what you want if you like a little bit of dry weather, but not something that's going to linger for 3 or 4 weeks. This should hopefully be pushed along, but there is a southerly flow just in here. The ACT, I haven't talked a lot about you. You got showers, a lot of them around you, but some of them will come straight into Canberra and give you a few thundery downpours. The low is still there on Thursday, still after close to a week of just sitting there off the east coast. And then yes, once again, that's another cold front about to come back in to Western Australia. So we've got variety. Look at the map, the 7-day rainfall map. It's been ages since we've seen it being coloured in like that. Now, if you take a closer look at Victoria, some good rainfall coming through for you. Maybe further to the west, it starts to taper off into that 10 to 15 millimetre mark. Further to the east, 30, 40, maybe getting 60, 70 closer to the mountains. But look around the ACT, parts of New South Wales, you might be in just a little bit of a rain shadow. It just depends on exactly how it lines up. But the blue in there, that's only a few millimetres, not much. And then over in Western Australia and South Australia, places like Ceduna getting rain, Perth southwards, you're getting some of that rain. And further to the north, not as much wet weather for the top half of the nation. But I'm sorry to say, because I know you're getting a bit tired of it around Brisbane at the moment, more wet weather stuck in that zone with those showers coming through. Before I go, the place of the day this week is Melbourne. Great, beautiful city. Took off here a week ago on Flight Simulator. Full moon was rising straight over the city, and the population 5.3 million, which I've got to point out is higher than the population of New Zealand, the entire country. Overnight lows 7 to 13. That's not too bad. Your daytime highs are 13 to 20. 20 is today. You'll be in the low 20s today on Thursday, but once that front comes through, that's when your temperatures drop. So you've got rain later today and tonight, could be some heavy and thundery falls, and then it's mostly dry. Maybe a couple of showers around, otherwise dry. Melbourne, great city. There's the city centre going out to the sea there. That is all from me. Thanks for joining us again this week. Back again on, we're not going to be back on Monday because it's King's birthday weekend in New Zealand, so we won't be doing an Aussie video again until next Thursday. However, you never know. We might suddenly surprise you and do one on Tuesday. We'll see how we go. But that's all from me for today. Have a great weekend.